Hello everyone, welcome back to Cheat Codes, and today we're going to make a enemy spawner and an enemy spawn indicator, and yeah, let's get into it. Before I start, I'm going to say there will be no enemy AI yet. The AI is just, the enemy is going to stand still and not do anything. Next episode we'll make the enemy AI and some other stuff. So to start, we need 3 enemy scripts. This will be enemy health. And just to clarify, this spawner isn't what the permanent spawner is, it's just a temporary one to just get things done. So yeah, don't, it's not going to be great, don't take it seriously, but yeah, it's just to get a start and a feel for it. So then we'll need an enemy spawner script, and then we will need an enemy spawn indicator script. So enemy spawn indicator. Those are our 3 scripts for the episode, and let's get into it. So first thing we'll do is we'll make an empty object and call this enemy spawner. That is wrong, enemy spawner. We're going to reset its position, and then we're going to put it above the player. I'm going to give the enemy spawner script, and then we're going to hand it to our editor. So let's get into how this will work. We will have a public game object, and it'll be an array, and call it enemies to spawn. Can also just call it enemies, and then public float spawn speed, and then public int, and this will be spawn amount, and then we will have a public int map vector size x. We can call these other things, but this is what we're going to call them. Well, actually, this should be private, and then private in map vector size y, and then actually above it, we will have another private int. This will be the default size x, which will be 14. Our map is 28 wide for the actual player to move in, so 14 to the left, 14 to the right, so default size is 14. And then private and default size y equals 7. And just to avoid some issues, and there should be a float actually, just to avoid some issues, we are going to change it so it's, let's say 13 and 6. So there'll be a little bit of space between the edges, just in case you have a bigger enemy or something, just to make sure he doesn't spawn out of bounds or something. Okay. And if you want to make this a little less complicated, we can also just say size x and size y. Okay, now we'll need one last thing, and that is public int enemy map size. It's called enemy map size because we'll have another object that has map size, which is our game manager, and we want that one to have the one called map size, not this one. So this one's enemy map size, just to clarify why I did that. So the start function, it's not going to have anything in it yet, but we'll need a private, i.e. enumerator, and this will be enemy spawn loop, and then we will need another function, and this will be public, private again, sorry. Actually no, this one should be public, so public void set map size, and this will do size x equals default size x times enemy map size, and then same thing for the y. So size y equals default size y times enemy map size. There we go. Okay. What is... Oh, sorry. This is not meant to be an int. This is meant to be a float, and this is meant to be a float. There we go. Okay. Now we can actually do this. So set map size. Okay. And then start coroutine any spawn loop. Okay. And then in here we're gonna have a while loop, while true. This just means it'll loop infinitely. And if you ever have an issue where your Unity crashes and doesn't give an error all that stuff, it's because of this. Don't change this to anything else, and try not to put an if statement. That just, this thing is very finicky when it comes to the while true loop. Don't mess with it too much. But yeah, I can't really explain why. I don't understand it myself, but just if you ever have a crash, anything like that, that doesn't give you an error, it's because of this. It's definitely in your actual INE mode. Okay, so in here we're going to have a yield. No, yield return. New. There's a space here that shouldn't be there. Wait for seconds. So this will just wait an amount of seconds given. And this will of course just be our spawn speed. So if it's 0.1, every 0.1 seconds it's going to do it. You get the picture. And then we'll need an int rand enemy. And this will be random.range. And in here we're going to do 0 and then enemies to spawn dot length -1. This is because so let's say you have 3 enemies in here. It's going to be 0, 1, 2, but the actual value of the length will be 3. So it'll try to select unit 3, but unit 3 doesn't exist. Unit 2 is unit 3 because it starts at 0. So you just do -1 because the actual arrays and lists start at 0. Of course, you can always just fill the 0 with a random thing and just never touch that 0, and then there you go. But yeah, that's why. Okay. Now we will do a for loop, and this is of course spawn amount. And again, as you can see, this is completely random. There is no like logic or balance here. This is just for fun, just to get it done. So we will instantiate enemies to spawn rand enemy. So it just selects the random enemy we selected. And then we will do new vector 3. And this will be random dot range again. Then this will be our size x. And then comma negative size x. And then we will need random dot range again. And this will be size y. And negative size y. And then a 0. And then another comma. And this will just be transform dot rotation. So it'll take a rotation of your spawner. So yeah, all this is doing is selecting a random position on the x-axis between the size x and then the negative size x. So either on the left or right. Yeah, very simple. It's not anything complicated. It just selects a random value for your enemies to spawn. Just to clarify better, we will make the first ones the negatives instead. Okay, so if we head into Unity now, we will need our enemies first, but if you want to test it, you can just make this enemies to spawn, make it like 3 or something, and just drag in a bunch of bullets. It will work, hopefully. You know, let's test it. Now I'm worried. Let's drag in the bullets. The bullets will be our temporary test to see if they spawn properly. Spawn speed, let's make it like 0.5. Spawn like 2. Enemy size, map size, obviously 1. And yeah, as you can see, so it randomly spawns bullets in the given area. Okay, so we can clear that out now. We know it works. And yeah, let's get into making the actual enemies. So we will need a 2D object. Actually, let's do the indicator first. Let's do the scripts. You know, let's just do all the scripts first. So we will have a public float max health, and then of course public float health, and then at start we will have health equals max health, and then we will have a we're gonna do this actually. Well, no, that's all the enemies. No, they need the take damage script. So public void take damage, and this will take a float damage amount. so the amount of damage it takes. And then we'll do health minus equals damage amount. And if health is smaller than or equal to 0, then destroy game object. There we go. That's the enemy script done for now. So it's just a dummy that will stand still and has health, and it'll take damage, and if its health equals 0 or less, it will destroy itself. Very simple. So now we can actually shoot it dead. So let's actually, under player bullet script, this. So we will do if call dot game object dot try get component, this enemy health, then out enemy health, enemy script, and enemy script dot take damage. There we go. So this is just when it hits something, it'll try get component. So it's checking if the component's there. So if it has an enemy health component, then we can use it. So this is just a value for it. It's like making a variable. It's just the value. And now we can affect it like this. So there we go. That's the enemy health done. That is how to kill them done. And this needs to actually be in there too. So it doesn't just infinitely hit them. And yeah. Well, no. That could just be like that. Okay. Now we do the enemy spawn indicator. So in here we will have a public float spawn speed. No, sorry. Wait, no, not all that. Public float enemy spawn speed. It's just something stupid like that. This is just how long it's going to take for it to actually indicate. Oh, we can exchange it to something like this. Indicator length. Okay. And then we will have a private animator anim. And then we'll do start, and that is anim dot speed equals indicator length. Okay. Then we'll have a public void spawn enemy, and this will literally just, we'll have in here, we're gonna have a public game object enemy to spawn, and it'll do instantiate enemy to spawn transform dot position transform dot rotation. So it just spawns an enemy. Just the public game object enemy to spawn. And here actually we're going to make this a game object spawned enemy, and we're going to do spawned enemy dot, well no, this should actually be indicator, just to clarify. Indicator spawned indicator spawned indicator dot get component enemy spawn indicator dot enemy to spawn equals, and this should actually be that, and we're going to change this to, we'll need a spawn indicator, so this will be public game object spawn indicator prefab, and we're going to replace this with spawn indicator prefab. So yeah, that's what I was meant to do. Sorry, it's meant to spawn the actual indicator, and then the indicator gets the enemy. So this is just setting what this is. So it's setting the game object of the spawn indicator. It's telling it, it's saying, hey, you're meant to spawn this one, the random enemy in the list. So very simple. There we go. That's done. And yeah, I think that is it finished. Oh, sorry. Then we actually need to destroy it as well. So destroy game object. So it destroys itself after it spawns an enemy. Whew. Okay. Now let's head back into Unity. We're going to make the actual spawn indicator now. Let's make some enemies first. So let's make a square enemy small 0.5 on all axes. Let's give it a, let's make the enemies like reddish, red color. And then we can just Control D, and this will be enemy medium, enemy large. Oh, sorry, enemy large. Okay, and of course we're gonna take all of the positions and make it 0, 0. This one needs to be 1, 1, 1, and then 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Okay, so and then we're also gonna give them all a box cloud 2D, and we will put them all on a layer called enemies. Enemies. Oh, sorry. Enemies. So just give them all a layer called enemies. And then we're going to head into project settings, physics 2D, scroll down and turn off collision between enemies and enemies so they can't bump each other around. Okay, and let's make the large one a little bit darker red. Let's make the large one, make it darker red. Okay, so all the enemies are different color. We give them all the enemy health script. We make the small ones health. Let's make it like 3, 6, 9. Take them all, drag them into the enemies prefabs folder, delete them, and then we're going to make a 2D object. Let's make it a circle, and this will be our enemy spawn indicator. So enemy spawn indicator, and let's give it a very dark tint. Let's put the enemy spawn indicator script on there. Indicator length is how long it'll be. Let's just make it 2 for now. So it'll take 2 seconds for the enemies to spawn. And we drag this into the enemies prefab again. That is that done actually. Let's reset its position just to be sure. And yeah. Now let's get rid of, oh wait, no, sorry, let's not get rid of it yet. So we'll make a new animation. This will just be in the animation folder. Let's call it spawn indicator. And in here, we're going to record. We're gonna change the size, no, leave the size as 1, but we're gonna make the transparency 0. And then after exactly 1 second, we're gonna make transparency full. That is our spawn indicator. We can also make it go a little bit lighter over time. And yeah, that is our spawn indicator. So at the start, it'll be really dark and no transparency, and it'll just fade in slowly till it spawns an enemy. Okay, so that is that done. I'm gonna hit apply. I'm gonna take it and drag it. Wait, no, sorry, we don't have to touch it again, so we just delete it. Hit save. Now on our enemy spawner, this is the enemy spawn indicator. And now enemies to spawn, we have 3 of them, so we take them like that. We can actually make this 0, and then we can do something fancy, just take them all. Wait, no, sorry, we have to lock it. Take them all, drag them onto here, and boom, there you go. Okay, but I prefer them being in an actual order from large to small. I mean small to large, sorry. So yeah, now I've hit play. Oh, let's see, what is the issue? Enemy spawn indicator at the start of it, line 15. Anim.speed, oh, sorry. Anim equals get component animator. Sorry about that. It's like having a rigid body, you just get the component. Okay, and now if you hit play, it should hopefully work. Hopefully. Oh, whoa, whoa. I think what's happening is it's actually spawning itself. Give me a second to figure it out. I can't believe I made that silly little mistake. Okay, so drag the spawn indicator back in. Sorry, I make the silliest little mistake sometimes. In the actual animation, right click the end here, so the last frame, and then make an event, and then select the function spawn enemy. So that is just this function we made right here. And then just delete it. And now if we hit play, it should hopefully work. Yeah. So as you can see, we're spawning enemies very fast. Holy, okay, let's slow this down a little bit. We can actually still leave this at 2, but let's just make this slower, and let's make the indicators a little bit slower as well. So the indicator length, of course. And then the spawn speed, let's make it 1.5. And yeah. As you can see, there are enemies spawning in. Oh, sorry, this is actually wrong. So the enemy spawn indicator, that's the length. You should make it less if you want it longer. So let's make it 0.5. So now if you hit play, as you can see, they slowly pop in and then pop, spawns enemy. Of course, this doesn't look good, but this is the temporary way it's going to look. And we can shoot these enemies and destroy them, as you can see. And let's rebalance the guns a little bit. Not a lot, but just a tiny bit. So the weapon damage should rather be something like 5 for the pistol. For the shotgun, it should be something like 2. For the Uzi, it should also be something like 3, maybe. Okay, so that is the guns rebalanced. So now we can pew pew shoot. The small enemies die in 1 hit. Big enemies take 2 hits. And yeah, that is our random enemy spawner done for now. So I'll just timestamp from here and show that this is the end result. And yeah. So this is how it looks when we play now. There is a indicator for enemy spawning. It doesn't look great yet, but that is just the process. There's a simple random enemy spawner that'll spawn in random positions. And we can shoot and kill these enemies, and they have actual health. So you can see the big ones take 2 hits. Obviously the game isn't really balanced yet, but it's a start. So yeah, we made enemy spawning with a spawn indicator, and we made simple enemies that just stand still and have health. Next episode we'll make enemy AI, so make them move, and we'll rebalance the game a bit and make sure things work properly. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next episode.